Well, hello.
Hiya.
Welcome to the What's the Story Hash Brown Glory podcast, everyone. Isn't this exciting?
I know, it's a bit step out of the comfort zone, isn't it?
It is a step of change for Lee and I to record something. We're quite excited to try and bring to the forefront of everyone's minds the hospitality industry, some of our awesome suppliers.
Friends in the biz.
Yeah, friends in the biz.
And just people that we know that are good at what they do. And just highlight all different aspects of hospitality and just how great people are, really. And just kind of big them up a bit.
We've got a suite of very interesting characters as well, with some fantastic stories. I'm looking forward to telling them or asking them questions about it, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. I say we've got people who are at the top of their game in a minute. Harry is the assistant sommelier at Sap Baines. We've got Harry Gurney, who owns and runs Cat and Wicket's pub company. So a wide range of different people. Mambo Mobile Bars, who's a cocktail maker and runs his own catering business as well. Yeah. Who else we got?
I don't know.
Suppliers.
Lots of suppliers. We've got Harrison and Griffiths, the Black Pudding guys. It's all very exciting. Yeah, and I think we're going to have some laughs. We thought we'd make sure that in Pride of Place there was a nice hash brown, which I just want to eat.
Hash brown glory.
The hash brown glory indeed. But today's guest is our old boss, Danny Jiminson from the Hammer.
Yes.
Who we have a lot to thank for, because without him we wouldn't have met.
Very true.
And I think it was apt that he'd be our first guest just to go easy on us like he did for 2.5 or 5 years of the Hammer. It definitely could have been a lot shoutier and got us to do harder work, but
no, it was good. Yeah. And it'd be good to speak to him as well, because now obviously the boots on the other foot, as it were, as we experienced what he was experiencing back then, and we didn't have a clue of what he kind of did.
I absolutely, I think about him a lot, actually, and I know that I understand him way better now than I ever did, because
very much so.
We were very knowledge-hungry chefs, and Danny was there, but not like next to us telling us what to do all the while, which is what we wanted. And it's because he was getting the customers that we could cook for. Yeah. It's definitely a learning just from that, just over time.
But also what he's achieved since we've gone as well, going on to getting 3 rosettes.
I don't know. I reckon the greatness was when we were there.
Foundations.
The foundations, those black pudding things that we did, those pigeon starters, the
foundation,
fish and chips.
He's in the black pudding Scotch egg, which is now synonymous with rustic
Good
kitchen.
Word. Yeah, it is. Right, well, what do you think? Should we get him on and have a chat?
Let's have a whirl.
Our very first guest here on the podcast is no other than Lee and I's old boss, the chap who employed us both when we were both employable. Today's guest is a man who saw 2 young ambitious chefs and decided to give them a chance. Lee and I have a lot to thank him for, because without he and his wife Sandra owning and operating one of the most sought-after restaurants in the East Midlands for nearly 20 years, Rustic Kitchen wouldn't be what it is today. We most likely wouldn't have met. With a career in hospitality stretching, I think, over 30 years. From a large renowned restaurant, London hotels, to cooking for royalty and dealing with 2 whippersnapper knowledge-thirsty chefs. That's us, in case it wasn't clear. We are very proud and honoured to welcome our first guest to the pod, Danny Jiminson, chef patron of the Hammer Pincers in Wymesord, Leicestershire.
Thank you for inviting me.
Welcome along. How exciting.
How are you?
I'm really good. So this is the first of many, I hope.
Yeah, I got a little bit emotional reading that out.
Oh.
It's quite exciting, isn't it?
It's nice to have you as the first guest.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Well, Danny, we all want to know, where did it all begin?
Oh.
But before we answer that question, we have a snazzy jingle to play.
All the people, so many people, they'll all go hand in hand through their pot's life.
So, Danny, where did it all begin for you?
Right, 1980, let me work this out right, 1985, The Asda in West Bridgeford. Picture that in your heads, the Asda in West Bridgeford. Well, right next to that is a pub called the Wolds. Now, I was there just washing up, still at school, and
Started on pots.
yeah,
Started on pots.
Who does? The best ones did.
That's what I think.
Did you start on pots?
Well, Danny, before you go any further, the jingle is, you'll hear it, but it's called Pot's Life,
Okay.
based on Park Life by Blur. I'm not sure
Right.
if I'd say that. He'll
Did you
edit
do
it
the
out.
vocals?
No, Bobby did.
Who's
My
Bobby?
son.
Oh, right.
I've got to use it now. And yeah, it's because we believe that's where people started as Pot's Life. So interesting.
Yeah,
to-
I think
He-
that
he
I think a
didn't.
lot
He
of the
claims he
best.
didn't start on Pots.
You didn't.
No.
You took the,
Straight into the
you took the
kitchen.
shortcut.
Straight into the kitchen, but I always roll my sleeves up and go on pots.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, you always would, but you didn't start there. Your first job was as a chef.
Yeah.
It's not the same unless you've got fairy liquid running through your veins.
I think he's done all right, though, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
Struggle through.
But still, it was the cheats shortcut way in.
It was 1985.
1985, I was working, just washing up. No pot washers back then. No machines. It was literally just a couple of sinks and
Sleeves rolled up in the sink.
sleeves rolled up. A lot of sweat. But but back then it was a steak restaurant very much, and they had a massive, great big char grill, sort of 3 or 4 of them about the size of this table. And the chefs both had their little ashtray on the side. They'd be
smoking
smoking
in the
all
kitchen.
the way through service.
Far out.
Bit of seasoning. It was great, and I loved it. And I was pot washing. I don't know how long, a couple of months, something like that. And then one of the chefs didn't turn up, and they put me in the back doing starters, and I was hooked. Simple as that. I actually did my YTS training there because I wanted to go to college, and I wanted to do, become a chef.
So was that decided before you started washing up as well, though? You knew you were going to be a chef?
No.
That was then in the sink?
No,
Decided.
back then I had an apprenticeship lined up at Rolls-Royce
All right.
Oh, really?
as a technical artist, like a draftsman. Right. But I went to a careers teacher who said, well, you'll only be doing work on a computer because, pen and paper is on its way out. That was very true. But back then, computers were not like computers today. You had to know how to code. It was a Sinclair ZX81. So they were complicated pieces of kit. And I just didn't have any love at all for computers. So I decided, right, kitchen, chef, do that.
It's just the buzz of it, though, isn't it?
Oh, it
It's
is.
just
Yeah.
everything about being in the
Yeah.
kitchen and line with all the checks coming in. It's just where everyone wants to be, kind of.
It's interesting. I've not seen that in a long time, like that yearning, washing the pots, yearning over to what are they doing? Like, I've not seen that for a while in the youngsters.
But I think
I've not seen like that want to, because some people just don't want to be chefs. I get that. But also there's it happened to me really, and
really?
same feeling for you. I mean, I knew I wanted to be a chef, but I was always like, I want to be there, not here.
Yeah.
It took me I was 3 weeks and I was off the pots because the guy that they all stuck on as a commis chef left. So I was in.
See, I didn't know that was what I wanted, but as soon as I was in the thick of it, I just knew from that point on, no, this is what I want to do. And I was very lucky there because I worked with some really, really good mentors who were, very good at sort of bringing that creativity out. And I actually worked there on the YTS training scheme with Amanda Baines.
Amanda Baines.
So Sat's wife and
Oh,
I
really?
trained together at the Wolds in West Bridgeford. Yeah. Yoppie, they called her, for YTS, Youth Opportunity, whatever.
And she was the yuppie.
Yeah, she was the Yoppie.
So anyone could be a yuppie.
Anybody, but she was at that time, the Yoppie. Yeah. And then it just snowballed from there, really.
Yeah, so where did that take you? After Nottingham, did you carry on working in Nottingham?
Yeah, worked at, so back then in 1985, there was a place called the French Horn at Upton. And in 1985, they won gastropub gastropubs were still very new back then. And they won pub caterer, I think it was, or something like that. So I thought, right, that's the place to go for. Yeah. So I went and worked there, did a couple of years there, whilst I was doing a BTEC in hotel management, which was just pointless really for me. So I did that weekends and some nights. In fact, most nights I ended up working there.
Was there ever a style of food that you wanted to chase, or was it just the place that you wanted to go, like the best place you could see? I wanted to go there. Didn't mind about the style of food.
No, not really. And that was one of the things that Devon, who was the head chef at the Wolds, he taught me, was that you're only as good as the last place you've worked. And that has definitely stood me, really, really well throughout my career. I've always sort of like gone for the better place. There's been a time when, the big name is obviously the Savoy, and I did 18 months there. But the thing about the Savoy is that it nearly kills you. And you're only supposed to do people only ever really did 12 months, because if you don't do 12 months, you don't get the certificate. You can't put it on your CV. And I stayed on for another 6 months because they offered me a role, which is a chef tournant, which basically meant that you worked around all the sections. So when you came in the morning, you didn't know what section you were going to be on. You just went wherever they were, whoever was in the deepest.
I did that in Darwin. It's quite a good, fruitful position, though, because you get your skills stretched, as it were.
You do.
You're just putting the shit straight away and got to fix it as well, which is...
But
good skills to have.
The only downside to it really is that when you're on a section, you will find that when you're doing it day in, day out, you get into the groove of it and you get really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're moving around, which is kind of where I'm at the moment in the restaurant.
You're putting out fires, really.
Yeah.
Like if someone's not done the prep properly and if someone's not filled the prep up, you're putting out a fire there. Next day, you're somewhere else, putting another fire out.
It's like it was when we used to follow on section after you, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. Why has he written my list properly? Where's the Jew? Yeah. But that's where I am at the moment, because I just cover days off, really. Or not that they really have days off, because we're closed for 2 days of the week. Everybody works, Tuesday to Saturday. But now I'm just floating around the sections and sort of like seeing whoever needs help, or basically wherever I see something that needs changing, I'll just jump in. Or if somebody's on holiday. So last week Dan was actually off, so I did a couple of days on sauce. Now I haven't worked on sauce for 6 months. So that was an eye opener.
Enlightening.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when I work in the kitchen here. That's what that conversation was today. I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah,
because I'm never in it
else's
anymore.
food as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's very, although I pretty much leave Dan to it. It's, it's all techniques and dishes and that we've either done in the past or he's evolving into something new. So a lot of the time I'm sort of like, well, Jesus, this hasn't come out of my head.
Yeah.
So I'm unsure exactly what he means when he's sort of like building up the dishes. So that in itself, but then again, that also gives me a really good insight into where
different
I feel
aspects
that
of cooking in different ways, and
which is what it should be.
I was wondering if we could just rewind a little bit further before we talk about the Hammer and just talk about how you got there. We talked about the Savoy, and we know a lot about your time at the Savoy, and that's not what I want to focus on. But when was it? Was it straight after the Savoy that you got to the Hammer?
No,
I didn't think so. So, and there was time leading up to that. What made you ultimately come home and want to take that rundown pub?
Well, it was always my end goal was to get my own place.
I was going to say, was there always a yearning to kind of, I want my own
from
place.
The start?
Yeah.
That was always what I wanted. I never wanted to... see, I come from a very entrepreneurial background. Mum and Dad, they had their own business making cardboard boxes and finishing cardboard boxes. They had a great big factory in Nottingham doing that sort of thing. So I come from a self-employed background, as it were. So I always knew that I didn't want to work for somebody else because I'm a nightmare as much as anything. So I was always sort of like working towards that. And so from leaving the Savoy, I made the decision that, right, that's kind of going to be the pinnacle of getting me through the front door of my own place. So I thought, right, what can I do now? So I need more experience in running businesses. And I went to Clapham and just basically worked for a guy who was doing lots of openings. And we opened 4 restaurants. So the Rapscallion, the Sequel, the Railway and the Royal Oak. So I just basically helped him with the openings, and I was the, I suppose, group executive chef. But that taught me a lot about starting a kitchen from scratch. So you guys know what it's like, going through the auctions and just doing whatever you can to bring all of your kit together, designing a kitchen, working out the logistics of the flow of service and everything, but doing that from scratch.
It's just crucial because here we do so many covers and the kitchen's tiny.
Yeah, when you were saying that, I'm
we-
astonished you can get it through that kitchen.
Literally, if we didn't plan it well,
Yeah.
it would just
Yeah.
wouldn't happen.
But to add fire to that, we planned it. I think we planned it very well, but
Unbelievable.
also with lots of second-hand kit. Like, we got a
From the
whole
fire
load of
station.
kit from the fire station at, well, dirt cheap. Sorry, taxpayers, but they sold us for nothing. But it's even nightmare getting in there. But just that, being able to do that with like stuff, the round peg square hole kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Of like, well, how do we make this work?
But also, we could only do that with knowledge.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
well.
Yeah,
You
experience
couldn't,
came through.
you
Yeah.
couldn't, you couldn't
Yeah.
go into that kitchen and go, this is exactly what we need, and this is how we're going to do it without exactly knowing how we're going to cook everything.
But I think that's why so many restaurants fail, because that in itself takes a different sort of creativity.
Yeah.
Knowing that, okay, then I've got this space. What have I got? I haven't got, bespoke fitted tables. So
You can see
I've
it
got
1,000 times when
Yeah.
you go to a place. We were at a place. Or was it Gedling? Sorry, people of Gedling Park. They couldn't run a piss up in a brewery. It was
Yeah.
just mayhem. And it's cloaked. They had a hatch and the inside, and they're going from one side serving alternate customers.
Yeah.
And you
You
just
need
think,
more
yeah,
staff, or you close one and do them all in
Yeah.
one place, guys. That's it. Don't try and do both. And Melissa was in the queue for nearly 25 minutes. I'm like, why? You should have quit ages ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's only a coffee. We'll get another one another day.
It's not going to get any better.
Wow. But that's a classic example of people actually without experience, sadly, starting a hospo business, because
It's not just experience either, though, is it? It's that it's how your brain works. It's if
Yeah.
you've got a creative sort of, okay, that tabletop doesn't
Process-minded.
quite fit there, but if I fashion a piece of wood or
Because-
something,
At the end of the day, our kitchen, it's got a door in, and we was like, "There's a door there. We can't put anything there." And so we thought, "Oh, we'll just board the door over."
yeah,
So use that space.
not use
the
It's
door.
like
yeah,
one of the best things we've done.
Yeah. I forget about that because you just walk past it and it's just a door. If you
Yeah.
open it, there's nothing behind it. It's a door to nowhere.
the gimp room.
So how were you? So you're looking quite hard, or did it fall in your lap?
Yeah, no,
the
we
hammer?
looked everywhere. I was very close actually. At one point, we were in negotiations with a lady who was building a restaurant up a mountain in Germany.
Up a mountain in Germany.
Yeah. So we were looking quite closely at that and, kitchen designs and stuff like that. And I was trying to get my head around, okay, can't
Schnitzel's
really speak the language that well, but, I
You were
managed-
married to Sandra at that point, though, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No. We'd just come back from Switzerland at that point. So I'd just spent 6 months working in a German kitchen, a Swiss kitchen, to practice my German. But everybody wanted to practice their English.
Classic.
Yeah. And we were looking. There was also a possibility of an option in Spain where I was kind of offered a job but didn't go for it. Yeah, we were looking up and down the country,
It
everywhere.
wasn't specifically near
No.
where you're from.
No, it was just one of those things. It's like, when you go out and buy a house, you just walk around, hundreds of different houses, but you just know the one.
Yeah, we did.
do. Yeah.
Because, like I was saying to Tom, we drove past, and I always used to go to the farm,
Yeah.
Stonehurst, with the kids. Drove past, I always said to Katie, I was like, that'll make a great shop.
Yeah.
No one was ever in it. Always builders in here. Nothing going on. And when we was looking, I was like, Tom, let's have a look at this place.
So what did you do? Did you just sort of like found out who owned it?
We went on reconnaissance. We were driving around looking for a place
Yeah.
at the end of lockdown.
And this is where Tom's personality comes in, because I was like, I don't really know what's going on in there. And Tom's like, I'm going to ask them. Stormed in there. Went,
Hello.
Is that,
I'm Tom.
is that what's going on with this place? And then literally we
They
got the
said,
builders.
We didn't even put it to market
Yeah.
straight away, which is the
So what was
strategy.
it going to be?
It was going to be, so someone had the lease for this place and messed it up. Like, they took on the full repairing, full fixer-uppering
Yeah.
lease, take it as it is,
Which you do.
and it was terrible. Like, they were letting the building fall down, so our landlord stepped back in. They unleashed the leash
Yeah.
and repented, or whatever you want to say. I don't know what the terminology is, and took it back, fixed up. So you see downstairs there's a heap of steels. They put the floor in. Like, it was an absolute mess. And then they put it back to market. But that's when, as Lee described, I stormed in and went, "Hey, can I open our cafe here?"
Because I was like, oh, we need to find out the name of the pub. And he's like,
No,
just go in.
just
Yeah.
knock on the
go
door.
in.
Builders love a gas, and they did. They're like, "Oh yeah,
they were
it's
great.
extra. We've got this place, mate, and just call the agent. They'll sort it out for you."
And we started speaking to him, and that's where it kind of started.
It's the way for me. Looking forward to the next
Yeah.
ones. We're definitely just going to go off market if we can. Go and see a place and be like, "Let's get that before it comes off."
Find the right spot.
I heard a great strategy the other day for going to local councils and just going straight to the property team there, because they're sitting on billions of pounds worth of property, and they don't care. Like, they just don't care if it gets moved or not, because it's not their land, and be like, "Well, let's see what your portfolio is, and anything that might work in my sector." Like, imagine if, and it's not the right place, but like the pork pie library came up, for example, which is a government building. That's a cool building in a weird spot, but it's a cool building. Imagine if that was like somewhere like in the middle of a park.
Yeah.
Rustic Kitchen number 7, because I've done this strategy of going straight to the council.
So you're only going to look at leasehold. You're not going to look at freehold.
I'd love to own it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's just no money in the bank, Danny.
You don't need money in the bank.
Well,
Positive thinking.
there needs to be a little bit, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely something once it's become property owner operators.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not off the cards.
So when you found the hammer,
Yes.
you drove by, saw the pub, and went, "Yeah, that's the one."
Well, the only reason we went there was because the lease was up and somebody was selling the lease. And we just went in, and it was a proper spit and sawdust pub, with the burgundy patterned carpet, a pool table and fruit machines and all the other bits and pieces. And we just thought straight away, yeah, there's so much we could do with it. And mostly down to the fact that it's got such a big kitchen. I mean,
It's a massive kitchen.
it's a massive kitchen,
It is.
and with all of that space on the side. And I straight away, as the first day that I walked around it, I says, "Right, I'm going to knock through that wall, and I'm going to knock through that wall, and I'm going to do. And it just worked for exactly. It was a great opportunity for us, and I'm so pleased that we did go for it. And then
It's a great place, obviously, to raise your family as well, though. Like, Winesore is an
Winesore.
idyllic country village life.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Obviously, you live around the corner now. Did you move in pretty soon after getting the pub, or did you stay above the pub?
Oh no, we stayed above the pub for the first 5 years.
Oh,
Did you not work at the Hammer when Danny lived above the pub?
No.
Oh, really? Oh, I
Did you
didn't.
not?
I was in
Simon
the
and Hayley were
the
there.
hot.
Oh, when they moved in,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, right.
Simon and Hayley were there when I
Yeah, because they moved in when we moved out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I remember Danny coming down and making his upside down pies and gravy and leftover veg every night, a freezer pie every night. All this food and nothing to eat. That's what I say every time I go in the kitchen at work. All this food and nothing
It's
to
what
eat.
it's what we live on, though, isn't it? As chefs.
I think you might have even microwaved it.
No,
No, you can't have done that. No.
I think I'd have drawn the line there with a pie. It's particularly talking to a pie master that you are.
Yeah.
Soggy pastry.
So what big sort of problems so we should say that the Hammer Pincers is celebrating its 20th year this year.
It is
Congratulations.
indeed. Thank you
That is
very much.
a massive achievement. We are only 10% of the way to what you've achieved at your place. So kudos. But what massive problems have you overcome?
Oh,
in
God,
that
where do you
time?
start?
I mean, I can rattle off a few because I was with you with one of them for sure, but it
We've
comes
hit,
every 3 years or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's as soon as you get over one, there seems to be another one around the corner. But that's what makes life so interesting.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so the financial crash in 2008. So we opened in 2004. We had 4 great years. We had fantastic growth and everything. 2008 comes along, and it was like death of 1,000 cuts. It just dried up, completely, sort of like from day to day to day, it just got worse and worse and worse. So I set up an outside catering company, bespoke outside catering, and ran that. Did up to, at one point we were doing, in 1 year, we did 100 events. Wow. And that was on top of, so I literally just did that. And Simon, I think, was the head chef at that point, probably.
I think I'd left. I didn't do 100 events with you.
I think it was, did I set up were you?
I was there.
When I was doing.
But I didn't do 100 events with you.
It was when I'd gone into Alrawas. Do you remember Alrawas?
Yeah. See, there was a little bit there and then I'd gone.
Yeah. Well, we were doing that plus other bits and pieces as well on top of it. So that got really, really busy. But that was the only reason we're still here, is because, I effectively got, another job, a part-time job, doing something else. And that's what really kept the bailiff away from the door. Then obviously COVID. But a lot of it is, you get, and you'll find this, and you can, I don't want to be the one that says it, but, just around the corner, you've got a new delicatessen, coffee shop, whatever it is that's opening up. But it's things like that that really, really do make you stronger, and
It's how you adapt.
And competition's
adapt.
great. Competition's
I feel it's great.
Yeah, competition just means that you raise your bar even higher.
Keeps you on your toes.
You're doing great stuff here at the moment. I've got to say that the lunch I just had today was fantastic, and it was perfect for this sort of for what you're doing here. It was just delicious, but it was simple. It was just elegant, and I loved it. And it's simple is so difficult.
Yeah,
it is.
It really, really is. And unless they can do the same thing, it's going to be difficult for them to hold a candle to you.
There's a lot of things that sort of in business sort of get. I don't really want this podcast to be about business specifically, but it's a lot of things that stumble across and you go, oh. And we talk at length for hours about this stuff and text each other in the middle of the night like, Dush, what about this? Or, and it's great to have a business partner, because from Thomas the Caterer I was all on my own. It's great to bounce these ideas off and say, well, it's crap. Yeah. It's a crap idea. Or it's a wicked idea. Oh my God, why didn't I think of that one?
We always go way over the top and then always drag it
back in.
Yeah. But
it's a good place to start.
From what we've done, we always come up to the right decision.
Yeah.
For Rustic Kitchen. You know what I mean? It's always the best.
Well, you should never be afraid to make a few mistakes. God, the mistakes I've made and the things that I, look back on and think to myself, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. But then again, if I hadn't done those things, I wouldn't have learned, and I wouldn't have gone on to then to do the right things. So it's one of those. Confucius says, whatever he said. And it was, if he was going to say things, then that's probably what he would have said. Don't be afraid to fuck up.
Okay, I won't. Don't be fair.
Layman's terms.
Don't be afraid to fuck up. So, what do you... This is actually one of Lee's jottings, and I really like the question. So what do you strive to achieve each day?
Happiness.
Nice.
Simple as that. I want to be happy. I want my customers to be happy. I want my staff to be happy. So many people that we, in our social group, are... barristers, surgeons, people who've got proper jobs, sort of like life or death jobs and real life-changing jobs. And I don't see the happiness there. And I'm sure that, they are happy in what they do, but I feel so privileged that my purpose for being, the way I make my money, everything is about making people happy.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
And you can't underestimate, how important that is.
That's one of the great things about hospitality is it's just, and whether it's you're in the kitchen or you're out the front cracking a joke or being cheeky or whatever, or even just taking a cup away and making people, it's my table again now.
Yeah.
Like, those little things are so important.
Yeah.
Through hospitality. I feel exactly
it's like
the same.
people coming in, not seeing each other in a couple of years, giving each other a big hug, sit down and then enjoy the food.
You help to make that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not been a shit experience for them. It's been a really great experience.
Yeah.
And that's impacted in their day because they've maintained their happiness, if anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just aiding along the way with their
facilitating the fun.
Yeah. Okay. And who wouldn't, It's a much maligned industry, and it's not taken seriously. But
It's seen as a stepping stone a lot of the time,
Yeah.
when I don't think it should be.
No.
I've honestly, if you go into it and you go into it full on, you can get a lot from it.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people go, I'll do this for a couple of years and I'll go on.
And you don't need to get a degree in it or anything.
Yeah.
You just need to immerse yourself in it.
Work hard.
And just understand what you're doing, because there's so many chefs who are sort of, oh, you know, we won't cook this for you, we won't cook that for you, we won't do this for you. Just remember what it is that you do. You cook food, and yes, I'm sure that your food is absolutely stunning and delicious, and there's a reason why you're saying that. But sometimes you have to remember that you're in hospitality. You're there to be hospitable.
Yeah, to care. Yeah,
So-
yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. 100%. That's exactly how I feel about it too. So
Good.
that is good. Being from one of my mentors, I've learned something. How do you, going back to sort of like working hard, you know, you've been at the Hammer 20 years. How old's Alfie now?
Alfie's 16,
And Oscar's
Oscar's 15.
15. Oh, so yeah. So how did you balance running the restaurant and having a family life?
Well, I was having this conversation because we've just done appraisals at work. And, you know, there's always going to be a couple of guys that are thinking, oh, you know, is this right for me? Do I want to go off and do something else? But I was explaining to them that when you've got kids, and again, using the example of people in our social circles, they get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, they go to work, they're back at 7 o'clock at night. So during the week, they don't get to see their kids at all. Whereas I saw the boys for 2 or 3 hours. You know, I'd go to work at maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'd have a couple of hours with them in the morning. Then I'd go to work. I'd come back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd spend 2 or 3 hours with them in the afternoon. Then, you know, I'd go to work. They'd go to bed. Not many people can say that they get to spend, you know, 30 hours, 40 hours a week with their children. So from my point of view, it's been great. There's been, you know, I've probably had more time with my kids than most.
Interesting. My cousin works offshore. He can do 6 weeks away, 8 weeks at home, or something similar.
Yeah, yeah.
And he sees way more of his kids, even though he's away for 6 weeks in a
Yeah.
block, than
Yeah.
my cousin's husband, who.
And that's quality
who's,
time as well.
In balance, my cousin's husband, you know, doesn't have to be him specifically, but you know, actually sees them just 2 days a week in the month, so it's 8 days in the 4 week. You know, it's interesting, isn't it? It's what I guess the choice, and ultimately, are you happy at work as well, makes it a big difference,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing worse than a job that you're not enjoying. And I couldn't do it,
Yeah.
particularly with the amount of effort that goes into it, you know, when you are doing all these hours. But it doesn't always feel like work.
No.
You know,
No.
you might be doing something that is work related, but it doesn't actually feel like work.
No. That's the big battle, isn't it? Not
Yeah.
Yeah.
making work feel like work. And so you're celebrating 20 years at the Hammer this year. You've got 3 rosettes
Yes.
listed in the Michelin Guide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's something else that I've missed. Just the paper's
Good
not
food.
big enough.
Yeah.
Good food,
Hardens.
hardens.
Yeah.
What do you plan to? Is there any further to go with the Hammer?
There's always, you never stop
still
pushing.
push, yeah?
Push. But it's what you're pushing for. I mean, quite often we get that, oh, you know, why haven't you got a star? Don't you want a star? This, that, and the other. It's not, a Michelin star for me doesn't measure enjoyment. And that's what I'm all about. And I kind of like the expectation, or exceeding that expectation. So people will come, they're not, no, if they've been to us, you know, if they've never been to us before, it's their first time. They don't know always exactly what to expect. And people don't always necessarily understand, you know, the rosette system. So when they see 3 rosettes, which is usually a lot, you know, on a par with a Michelin restaurant, it's lovely that you can exceed their expectations. And that's a good thing. And then we always get very positive feedback about that. But it's not what motivates me. It's not what I use as a carrot to dangle in front of everybody else. In fact, if anything, if we did get one, I would just be bricking it every year, thinking about, because there can't be anything worse than getting it
And then lose it.
and then losing it. for whatever
Are
reason.
you treading in hot water now then on the third rosette? And, is that not a bit of a...
It could be, but
Teetering on the
I
edge.
just like it the way that it is. And I haven't had an inspection since like 2016. So
Was there a point where you didn't get 2 rosettes till probably just after?
we got the first one was 2012, 2013.
Yeah. Was there a point before then when you thought we're going to go for rosettes, or was it just
No,
has
not
it
really.
happened and kind of as you developed through the team? And
I mean, that was off the bat. That was 2008. So 2000, I would say that when the financial crisis hit in 2008, it was really, really tough until about 2010. But because we'd created this monster, which was
I think that's
bespoke
when I
outside-
joined 2010.
Yeah.
And it didn't get tough.
I was there through all the tough times.
But we'd created this monster where I was sort of literally trying to keep the lights on and doing all of this other work and looking at other things, which is another thing which we were talking about earlier. You, as a creative person, you kind of sometimes just have to put blinkers on and just concentrate on one thing at a time. And I'm not always very good at doing that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do get pulled to all sorts of different sides of, yes, that's a nice shiny new thing. I'm going to have a go at that. Yeah.
Shiny.
Plaster that wall, yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Rewire the, yeah, I can do that. And all these things that, we get sidetracked by.
But it's just development of the place as well, isn't it?
It is.
Kind of,
But it's also sorry.
you move in, then you go to the awards, and now you got rooms as well.
Yes.
Above the Hammer as well.
Yeah.
So it's just developing the experience of everything. Of
Well,
the
we
whole
always,
place.
and I've been planning to do rooms for years and years, but couldn't really go upstairs because of the disruption that would cause. But then COVID came along, and it was the perfect opportunity to think, right, wow, what can we do? And I think that's one of the things as well about a lot of places during COVID, they just shut, just walked away and thought, no, I'm just going to take the grant and walk away. And, what was it called?
Bounce backs.
No, the way that they put the furlough.
Furball.
The furlough. So they a lot of places just thought, well, let's just go and take 6 months off or however long it's going to take. But we sort of like looked at it differently and thought, right, what can we do in all of this time when we haven't got pesky customers hanging around? So we did. We went upstairs, created the 2 bedrooms, and that's been great. I've really enjoyed that. And I like that as well now because it means because I'm the one that gets up in the morning and does their breakfast for them. I have some really good one-on-one time with my guests where I serve their breakfast, have a nice chat. If they've dined with us before, then more often than not, they want to talk about the meal. So it's a really nice opportunity for me to have, a bit of
Quality
feedback
time
and
with
quality time with the customers.
And they will be quite honest with you at that point as well because they've been right through it and
Yeah.
they know that you're the owner.
Have you got any ideas for celebrating your 20th anniversary?
Yes. Well, we've obviously we're inviting some of the chefs who've worked for me in the past. Yourself, so you're lined up to come and do a. I think we worked out that we're going to do the verses. You got the email about it?
No,
We've not got an email now, but we are going to do the verses.
Did you get the email?
No.
Oh, I need to check that. That's because I did send one. So the format we're thinking at the moment is you do 4 dishes, we'll do 4 dishes. We won't actually take the dishes out. We'll let the front of house staff take it all out, but they'll have the menu
Scorecard.
with a scorecard.
Scorecard.
But everybody will have everything at the same time. So it'll be a little bit like a banquet service.
Yeah.
But it's only 30 covers anyway, so it's not the end of the world. So we do 30 of one course, They sit down, they score it. Then at the end, we go out and there's, like a trophy or something like that.
I love a trophy.
Trophy.
Who's going to get the trophy?
I've just got the vision of in Friends with the
Galley
troll.
cup.
Yeah, the Galley
Galley
cup. That's it, which is a troll stuck on a piece of wood with nails in its feet. I'm going to make that.
I thought that was my idea. I thought I'd just come up with that. Subliminal. I've
Warner
seen
Brothers
that
Studios
in
and
something.
effect. Yeah, well, we're looking forward to that. And Oh, other people joining you?
Yes,
Have you got
yeah.
who
So
else is
we've
coming?
got Will, who was one of my apprentices. He's coming. He's doing stuff. He's got a really nice country house hotel, but he was at Leeds doing lots of stuff with cooking over charcoal and open fires and stuff like that. So that's a really, really cool one. There's another guy who's currently on the yachts that is going to come back. He was at Fat Duck and Adams and John's house. Actually, just up the road. He was there for a while. Who else is there? Possibly Damien, who was my first head chef.
Is he still cooking?
Yeah.
Because obviously there's lots of people that have been through the Hammer that don't still cook for a living as well.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, we've had a fair few of those that have given up the industry. We've chased them out of the industry. Not good enough. Get out. But quite a lot have gone on to do some really, really good stuff. Tom Sellers, who has
Forget about that.
Who keeps on saying that he's going to come back and wants to do something with us that's like that.
Well, he's going to listen to this podcast. So, Tom, if you're listening, we want to be guests and Danny wants to cook with you once more.
That would be an interesting versus, wouldn't it?
I think he'll win.
Do you think? 2 Michelin stars. Pulls up in his Rolls Royce.
Well, boy, done good.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's just phenomenal. But with him, it's very much like you guys. Actually, he just had so much energy and enthusiasm for the industry that there's no stopping it. There really isn't. It's
he went everywhere as well, didn't he?
Oh God, his CV is like the top 10 hotels, the top 10 restaurants in the world.
Yeah.
He's got an incredible CV. But again, it's that sort of energy and that enthusiasm to just go and do it, because anybody can do it.
Yeah,
anybody can. It's just having the balls to go and just don't care, just going to do it. And look at him now. Look at you guys now. So
he's 10 years down. We're 2, so
yeah,
watch out.
Yeah,
rosettes on hash browns.
Why not? Bib gourmand.
Actually, you could make that into a rosette. You could probably mould it into a rosette.
Don't see why you couldn't get a bib gourmand. Actually, have you ever been looked at? Do you know if you've ever been?
Don't think so. No. But there's no reservations and people just walk in. So I don't think we have.
That would be a good thing. That would be a good feather in your bonnet, though. Somebody around here has got a bib gourmand recently. I forget who it was.
Stag and Hounds have got one.
Stag and Hounds have got one. Yeah.
Very good restaurant.
I still haven't been.
I love it.
It's on my list.
Great chips.
Yeah.
Unbelievable chips, actually. They are, aren't they? They're the best chips. It's Dom, isn't it, that runs that place? They're amazing chips. Anything with the potato, actually, and the roasties are great. Does something with potatoes, which is
Gets
magic.
back to the basics, you get the basics right.
He does do real good. Yeah, where's good to eat, Dan? Or do you never go out anymore?
I love John's house. I do keep going back to John's house because I get this asked a lot in the restaurant. Although
it's quite a predictable question. I'm sorry.
Do you think?
I think it's nice to. It's nice to see where
Where
restaurateurs eat.
I should now be saying Rusted Kitchen in Mount Sorrel.
Every Saturday morning.
Go and have the fermented cumin flatbread with what is it? Maple roasted squash,
roasted,
coconut labneh, pomegranate.
pomegranate.
It was delicious.
Coriander chutney.
I went to Birmingham. We went to Birmingham 2 months in a row. So I try and go out with Sandra whenever we can. And we went to restaurant, what was it called? Folium. It's in the Jewellery Quarter. Oh my God. Stunning. Small portions. I would only say that. I did walk away hungry, but everything that I had was just phenomenal. Grace and Savour, that's in something Manor. It's near the airport, actually. That was very, very good. That was very minimalistic, laid back, sort of. All the chefs come to the table, they present it to you. Presentation was phenomenal. Everybody ate at the same time. That was really, really good. But I kind of like simple stuff. I like a pie, which is always going to make you happy.
Yeah.
We all like a pie.
I
Pie
do
and
like
mash.
a pie. I love a pie.
Sunday roast.
Mm.
I think you can overdo the posh fancy stuff sometimes.
It's just not what you want to eat on a daily, though, is it? It's an experience.
Yeah, it's an event. If you got something to celebrate, like we come to Hammer the other day.
You did, indeed. For your anniversary, 10
Fun
years.
fact for listeners, Danny did both of our wedding catering.
I did, didn't I?
Both of ours.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with totally different gigs as well. But yeah, the Red Earth location.
Yeah, yours was quite formal. Yours was
Very
teepees and
rustic,
stuff.
yeah.
Rustic. It was great atmosphere though.
Yeah, we got
Both of the
shit-faced.
weddings, it was a fantastic atmosphere.
Did you have a stupidity tax on your Jaeger bombs? Did I remember that? Or were they ridiculously cheap? I can't remember which way it went.
Cheap.
Ridiculously
Everything was like 50p. No one could walk.
I couldn't walk. I remember that.
Quite an event.
Yeah, quite an event. Okay, I think we're there. I think we'd just like
Pop
to
quiz.
know. Yeah, pardon me.
Pop quiz.
Yeah.
Pop quiz.
Pop quiz. Have you got your questions ready? So this new listeners is all about asking the guest to come up with 5 questions, and Lee and I are going to go head to head. So the winner of this round will have 1 out of the 12 we have planned, and going forth on a little bit of a.
So have I got to beat you then?
No, you're going to ask the questions, and we're going to compete.
Okay.
Lee and
So
I are
you're
competing against each other.
So is it 1-1, and then what? How do we do this?
We're going to shout our names. Adam's going to be the judge.
Yes.
Producer Adam, I should say, is going to be the judge. So who said it first, and then give the answer.
We need buttons.
I know. I asked yesterday, didn't I, for buzzers? Adam's going to work on that. We've paid him.
Well, okay. The first question has got 3
Can afford
parts
a
to
buzzer.
it.
3 parts to it.
Yes.
Oof.
We'll write them down then.
Real pen.
It's just okay. You have to give me a number,
Okay.
and I'll give you a tolerance of
It's going to be pop quiz,
2.
not mastermind. You give us a what? Sorry.
tolerance of
Tolerance of
2. 2.
Ready.
It'll make sense. Right.
So are we shouting out the answer or writing them down here? Hang on.
Dark chocolate
Okay.
temperature for melting.
63.
For melting,
For melting. So when you're going through the tempering of chocolate,
61.
what do you take it to?
Oh, you just did 2 degrees less.
Well, you won then. You won because it's
Yeah.
dark chocolate is 50 to 52. Okay. Then you cool it down to
36.
I want 29.
28 to 29.
Yes.
Now you can actually enrobe or do whatever you want to. So when you're working, your working temperature. So this is the crystallization chart of chocolate. So
This
you
is a
melt it.
masterclass in chocolatier, by the way, people.
So you're melting it to release parts of the fat from the cocoa butter, and you're cooling it down to 20, as we've already discovered, it's 28 degrees. But what temperature do you work with it?
Well, I just said 36.
36 and
45.
32. Anything above 32, she's going to
Take
bloom.
on. I did learn how to temper chocolate from you, Danny.
So
On that
I think you
marble
got. I think
slab.
you got a one. You think
I forgot it.
you got 1 point. All right.
What is that? 1 each.
No,
No,
you-
one for
to
you.
you.
1 for me. Question
Sauce
number 2.
Chiron. Does that mean anything to you either? I'll give you a clue. It's a derivative from hollandaise. You add 1 ingredient to hollandaise to make it sauce Chiron, served with Chateaubriand, served with Dover sole. Actually, it's very nice with Dover sole.
Are we buzzing here, or are we just going?
Who's going with 1 ingredient that turns hollandaise into sauce Chiron?
Right then, we go.
That's ketchup.
Oh no, I didn't pass. We were buzzing. I was buzzing.
What was it?
Well, I thought I was going to say parsley, but you just told us the answer.
I thought you would pass it.
I was buzzing. I was a
Okay.
buzzer.
I
Well, you can get it right anyway.
I only got ketchup.
No, I was going to say wine. I wondered if.
What was
Do you know
my
what
other one?
Maltese
I was gonna
is?
say a herb.
Maltese. Can we ask Danny? Danny, what's sort of Maltese?
Sauce Maltese is
That's the one that came straight to mind with that.
sauce Maltese. I know it. It's a hollandaise derivative,
It is. Yeah, that's what came to mind. This hollandaise derivative.
and it's I think it's paprika,
I don't believe it is.
peppers. No, I don't then.
It's orange segments.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'll give you that.
They're all crap.
Next one, you'll get this
Okay.
one. So I don't know whether are you going to buzz or are you just going to shout it out?
Shout it out. We'll shout it out.
You be the judge.
Okay. What ingredient do you add to an omelette for Arnold Bennett?
Smoked haddock.
I knew that.
1-0.
Well, you got the score right. It's been recorded.
Oh, yeah, well, this
And
one.
cheese sauce as well.
Now, I'm guessing you sell a lot of coffee here,
Yes.
so you should have reasonable coffee knowledge.
No. Go on.
Which African country produces the most coffee? And this is the most in the world, actually.
Most in the world. Tom.
Go on then.
Kenya.
Nope. Ethiopia.
Clearly, geography isn't our smart spot.
And the last one is, I don't think you'd get, actually. But it's based on that.
Basing you being idiots.
Because it's a classic. Because I thought that I'd go with, mostly classics, but I threw the coffee one in there because I thought you might know some coffee. Souffle Rothschild. Any ideas?
Champagne.
No. It's a souffle with something in it. So like a Grand Marnier souffle, we have Grand Marnier. Souffle Rothschild has...
Is it a liqueur?
No.
Is it gold leaf?
No.
Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's Angelica.
Oh,
And cherries. Like
cherries.
candied peel, that sort of thing.
So it's through the mix and then
Through the mix, and as it goes up.
not
souffle
in a
Rothschild.
compote or anything. Okay. Ah. So how do you keep them? Here you go.
I'm going to
There's
say,
another one.
how
does
does
it
that
stick?
Yeah, how does that stabilize in the actual mix? Does
it just drop to the bottom?
No, well, it's small enough pieces. So we'd get a glacé cherry and we'd cut it into 8. We'd get a stick of Angelica and we'd jot that down. It's a classic Savoy dish. That was all.
And so that's folded through the
That's folded through the panade.
put in.
So it goes into the panade and then it's folded through the egg white and then into the soup. Because we're doing souffles at the moment at work and they're really, really popular. Really
Yeah,
making-
souffles always.
Well, you're doing souffles, aren't you?
We
We're
will
doing
be.
twice baked. Yep. New menu.
New menu.
That's something to look forward to. I love a twice baked souffle.
Twice
coming
baked
back.
souffles,
Bulletproof
really nice.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoked
They are.
haddock.
Smoked haddock,
Smoked
leek,
haddock. Leek. Poacher sauce.
mustard.
Spinach.
Yeah.
Bit of spinach in there as
A bit
well.
of spinach in there in the comp.
Are you actually going to serve it in those pans, or are you
Yeah.
going to?
Yeah.
And then what? Put a tea towel over the handle because you
Yeah,
always
probably
get
put a
some
little-
dickhead that'll touch it.
Yeah. That's
no,
hot.
No matter how hard, how many
You say,
times you tell
Please
them.
don't touch it. What, this?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm the type of person that when he says don't touch it, I'll touch it. But yeah, no, that's
Yeah. One of the
Sorry,
places I did work at, they had these. Remember these grill stones?
Yeah.
And this was back 88, 89.
That sizzler things.
90, 89, 90. I was working at, and I think it was one of the first places that had got these grill stones. And no matter what we said, it was like every service we would get somebody with, 3rd-degree burns from touching it. Because you'd say to them, that is like 300 degrees. So we kept them hot in a pizza oven. We say, don't touch it. Red hot. Every service. I think we probably had that system going for about a month before the owner just says, "No,
well, we'll see,
gonna
shall we?
rinse it."
But I mean, we'd like to because it looks wicked.
Just stick a tea towel around it or something
Yeah.
like that.
Like a
We'll give you
napkin.
napkins.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
We will.
Don't worry about it.
What's a lawsuit against a small business these days, eh?
Get to. You'd like the souffle? Would you just sign this disclaimer, please?
If I could do that with a new tool. Well, I think that brings us to the end. Is there? Well, before we go, where do people find you, Danny? How can people reach out, say hello, book a table if they wish? What's the
Best
handles?
way, as is the modern way, go to our website. And we're even actually having, at the moment, as we speak, we're having the rooms put onto there as well. So you can book the rooms directly on the website. At the moment, you've got to phone us up or go through bookings.com, which is a pain. So just go to the Hammer and Pincers. As soon as you put in the Hammer and, doesn't matter where you are in the world, it shows up.
Wow. SEO's working hard over here.
It is.
SEO's working hard.
Yeah. So we're very happy with that.
So straight to the website. Everything we need to know is there.
Everything is on there. Okay. Just don't end up, but we still get people who book tables for the Hammer and Pincers in Widnes, but they put their credit card details in and they sign all the terms and conditions, and then they find out that they've had £45 taken out of their account because they booked a table of 2 that they haven't shown up for. So don't make that mistake.
Okay.
If you're trying to book the Hammer and Pincers in Widnes.
Is it very nice there?
It's a pub
Okay.
that probably doesn't have anything that costs £45.
Or need to book. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you very much.
No,
We're
thank you
very
for-
proud
thank
that
you
you
for
come along
inviting
and
me.
spoke to us for over an hour, I think. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've broken the seal
Yeah, broken the seal.
on the. What is it? Have we decided on the name yet?
No, we've not. And there we go. That was Danny Jiminson from the Hammer Pincers. Wasn't that awesome?
It was great.
I am so glad we're out the gates with the podcast and we have a recording down on, well, it's not paper, but microchips.
Microchips. Tape.
Microchips on tape.
Vinyl.
It's not on vinyl, though, is it? It's on
what'd you
some
put it on?
sort of weird computer thing.
He's not
What is
looking.
it called? He's not.
No,
He's
he's
playing
not
his phone.
looking.
Producer's just playing his phone. It's the fucking
Always.
easiest job in the world.
You know what I mean? He's coming around here. Yeah. Fucks.
He didn't even do anything.
Danny was great, though.
I paid him loads of money and he's just done nothing all the time. I've not seen anything yet.
He's coming in
With his fluffy
And his-
marshmallow things in front of my face.
and his mink coat.
He is strutting around in some high heels.
Get back to Danny though.
Oh yeah, I mean, what a fantastic story, and a real testament and triumph to perseverance, to someone that's passionate about their cause, and still after 30 plus years slamming out absolutely unbelievable
being in
quality food and stuff,
One venue for 20
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
and growing it and growing it and growing it
Yeah.
continuously through all
and
the,
evolving as well.
through all the crap that
Yeah, is that
the
it all?
credit crunch, the
Credit crunch
pandemic,
and the pandemic,
all of
and
it,
all the other stuff that's
Big
gone
guy
with
lent
it.
his hands to the
Yeah.
cook at home stuff. We like you're saying, adapting all the way
Yeah.
through. And when we was there, he had an outside catering company. Through that kind of bad
Through the bad times.
period, just to get by, really.
Yeah.
Was testament to the guy. So it's really good, because obviously when you're in the kitchen, you kind of only focus on what you're doing. You don't hear about all the stuff above and what happens, and so that kind of, it's good to look back at it.
I can't believe that he's really good with a saw.
Fucking crap. Honestly, I'm not having he's built all them stuff.
He is. He did all the stuff upstairs, and I saw him with some electrical cables when I worked there, and it was very scary. But with a saw, he seems to do all right. It's a bit like a knife, though, isn't it? We just hey, look
Just
at this table. Look who built these tables, eh? That was me. I built these tables. Not the metal bit.
no,
I
you
did.
didn't build-
The
you
wooden
built
bit
that
that you
one.
can saw. I built that.
Is that right?
Well, there we are. That was the very first episode of our lovely podcast. What's the story? Hash Brown Glory. Should we do it? Cut.